Hi, I'm Johnny from ultimatepapermâché.com, and in the previous video I showed you how to put the Papercraft pattern together for this frog. Now let's get right to the rest of this project, the paper-mâché and the expression. Now we need our little 1.5 inch styrofoam ball and something to cut it in half with. And I've already marked mine. You can kind of use the lines that are on there to try to get both of them in the same place. It's going to go right there. So I'm just going to put a dab of hot glue right there. Stick her on. Now we're going to cover up that plastic tape and the styrofoam ball with some masking tape so that the paper-mâché will stick to it. Just cover the whole thing. You don't need to cover the back. I do put just a little bit on there, just one narrow piece like this around the back, just because we're going to have just a little bit of paper-mâché sticking over the edge, and we don't want it to curl up when it dries. It will not stick to that, and so it, when it dries, it tends to curl on the edges if it is placed in an area that doesn't have masking tape. Press it down really tight so you don't have any big bulges or wrinkles or air pockets underneath. I've got my masking tape on there now, and so now I'm ready to do some paper-mâché. Now, the first time I made a frog, I used strips of newspaper and paste, and it worked just fine. It was a little hard to get a nice smooth finish on the eyeballs, but it really wasn't that big of a deal. But this time I want to try something different, just because they're nice and soft and thick, and I think that they're going to cover those little ridges really nicely. I'm going to use the Scotch shop towels. I do want to make sure that I saturate that paper, because it's the paste that stiffens it. The paper is where you get the strength, but the paste is the stiffening agent, I guess you could call it. Now, it already, even with just one piece, it's already covered, at least done a fairly nice job of covering that one ridge that was right there. I don't know if you can see it, probably not. I'm just going to try one more just to see what happens. Very nice. Ridge is completely gone. This works really nicely. So I'm going to just go ahead and cover this, including the eyeballs, and then it'll be time to add those details. I'm not going to cover the back, remember. I might just do a little bit right around the edge of the back, but not the inside of the back, just maybe 1/4 of an inch. If you put paper-mâché on the back itself, that cardboard's going to warp, so we won't do that. I'm leaving the eyeballs for last because they make really nice handles. And another thing that I'm doing that I don't think I've ever done before, but that is working really nicely, is that after I've gotten 2 pieces on one particular area, then going back over it with a knife, the flat part of a knife, and using the knife to just smooth it out. It's working really nicely. As you can see, there'll be little bubbles of air under there, and it's pushing them out. It's getting it nice and flat. Don't know why I never did this before. It works so nicely. Look how smooth that's getting. And there's probably just a little bit of a dip behind your eyeballs there, because the ball cut in half doesn't exactly match the shape of the frog. So just go ahead and roll up a little piece of paper and put it right back there. Now that'll smooth off really nice when I put the eyelid on. I let the paper-mâché dry over the furnace vent for a few hours just to make it a little bit easier to handle. So what we need is a couple of pieces of the shop towel, if that's what you're using, or whatever type of paper you're using for your paper-mâché. We want it to be just about long enough so it'll be to go all the way over the eye. And then we're going to get some paste on one side of it and roll it up. This is going to be the leading edge of the upper lid. We don't want it too thick. Maybe one more. That looks good. And we want to make sure that we got enough paste so it'll stay where we put it. And put it on there. We're going to be putting in a lower lid down there too. They have very round eyes. They don't have a corner of the eye like we do. So it's almost perfectly round after you get both the upper and lower lid on there. That looks pretty even. Put another small piece over that. And now I'm rolling up a narrower piece of paper just to make a lower lid. Just put little triangles of paper right over that connecting point so you don't see a join line right there. Now we get to start on the lips. And the first thing I'm going to do is roll this up very loosely and put it right here below this line, like right here. I really just want enough paper on there, nice soft paper, that will allow me to put the line right here between the lips. Hey, it seems to work. Do I sound surprised? I am slow. Wasn't sure that was going to work. Now, obviously, this up here has to be covered with another piece because we don't want that ridge showing. Basically, I have to do that, so the same thing all the way along the lips, of course. Now, as I'm moving away from that center line, I'm using the roll below the upper lip. This will actually be, this will become that line between the lips. And I'll clean that up with another piece put over it. And my frog actually has a downward turn, just to do a short one right at the end. I want the puffiness to go at the underneath that, underneath this ridge here. He needs some nostrils, and so I'm going to roll up a tiny little piece here of towel. So I'm just going to make a little hole right there, not really a hole but a ridge around an empty space. And now, just because the dried paper towel seems to be a little bit too absorbent, it'll pull away when I get my sticky fingers on it. I'm just going to do the same thing that I do when I'm making masks with the fast-setting paper-mâché, and that's just to give it another brush over the entire piece with the paste. Hopefully that will just sink in and harden that skin even just a little bit more. Then I'm going to just put it over the heating vent. I hope the cat doesn't lay on him. It's looking good. So obviously I don't have my blue frog painted yet. That'll be in the next video. I haven't got that one done yet. I've ordered some supplies for it. I'm going to be using some tissue paper and some metallic paints and just do some experimental stuff that I think will be really fun. Now remember, I really want your feedback on this whole process, not just the frog itself, but do you like this idea of creating papercraft patterns of the actual skin and then putting the features on later for your paper-mâché projects. It's a totally new thing for me. I'm having an awful lot of fun learning that 3D program, and I really want to have an excuse to learn more and get more challenging projects going on. So if you have anything that you would like me to design, or if you have any ideas for me, if you think this is worthwhile or not, let me know. I really appreciate your feedback. And be sure to come visit me, ultimatepapermâché.com.